Where am I?
No. Where are we?
Where are we?
Nowhere.
Nowhere?
Yes.
Impossible.
Oh.
Well, we must be somewhere.
Impossible.
What?
For us to be somewhere. For us to be somewhere, we first must be.
I don't understand.
We are not we, if there be such an I.
I still don't understand.
Confusion. It is difficult to orient.
Orient to what?
The surroundings.
What surroundings?
Exactly.
I don't think I like it here.
Of course you don't like it here, because you are not you, and here is not here.
What do you mean, I am not I?
Exactly what is meant. When you come here, which is to say, go nowhere, you can no longer be you.
Then what am I?
We.
I am we?
No. We are we. All right. An explanation. The misunderstanding. It is understandable. Understanding is a hard-won victory.
How could I come to nowhere?
No. You went to nowhere. And now we are here.
Which isn't anywhere.
You're catching on. Please, have a seat.
A seat?
Now, we must discuss what was in order to determine what is going to be.
What about now?
There is no now in nowhere. It's a common misconception. But don't fret. Now, to the explanation.
I'm listening.
As you all do, you have come here because you have learned or are about to learn truth.
What truth?
See, we haven't learned it yet.
You've lost me.
No. You have found us. Now, may 2 questions be posited?
What are they?
Well, the first was permission to ask the second, and the second was, what is your name?
This is strange.
What's strange?
I can't remember it.
This is the first step to knowing.
Why can't I remember it?
Because you never had one. It was given to you. It was written on a treasured piece of paper. Does that make it you? Does that make it yours?
It was identity.
When you were you, which, by the way, you never were. Now we are we. What we have always been. We have a name, but we transcend the shackles of language. You know who we are.
I've never seen you before in my life.
You've seen us every day of your life.
I want my name back.
We can never get our name back from where we put it, but we can move forward with a new designation and ready ourselves for the return.
Another identity?
We'll get to that. If you are not you, then what are we?
I have no idea.
I hint that. We are an idea. We are the oldest. We live in the body. We breathe across the artwork of the world. We are the animals and the trees, the suffering and the joyous, or the heat and the bitter cold, the sound and the silence. We're the waves and the sand, the friction of the earth and the sky. We live in the heart of all humankind. What are we?
Love?
Bingo. We're universal.
It seems like I've known it my whole life.
Life is spent in the movement of love to earth.
Why?
The earth is a barren place. It was drained of its love long ago, but in time it will become beauteous again.
It will blossom, renewed by the love of mankind. All will inhabit thy paradise once more.
How?
We're given flesh. Flesh that can disturb the static of our world. Love, it's a vibration. Each of us is a sound enclosed in the greatest machine ever built, echoing through the world, blending together to create the greatest symphony that the darkness could ever witness. Love. It's a work of art. Art is a work of love. Art, science, and many other things besides our love. We are work and play, and all we do for love. You begin to see the picture? We're the music of the universe. It's glue.
But what about me?
You mustn't get attached to you. From the view of a single note, you can't hear the harmony of the entire orchestra.
But what about the pain? All the suffering that we've seen and done?
Dissonance. Each human is a sound. Each sound is true. As its existence, many sounds can exist at once. There isn't an absolute truth, unfortunately. The overlap represents the true nature of everything. Pain is truth's permeability, and permeability can be ugly.
I think you're understating the depths of depravity.
These conceptions are clouding the clarity of the solution.
The solution?
It's us. It's love. If there was an absolute truth, that would be it. The magnetism that holds the world together is its salvation and its damnation all at once.
But what are we to do?
We build. Little by little, we shape the earth to reflect the love inside ourselves.
Little is right. I saw so little change of the world. I can't remember details now. They're fading, like sand slipping out to the sea. But I remember pain. I remember sorrow. And I can't imagine a place on that earth that doesn't contain such hurt.
Okay. The earth is rough around its edges. But it's our job to fix it.
Who gave us this impossible task?
To give her all names.
My God, who are you?
Still wait. Now, let's discuss our return.
Our return.
Is there an echo in here? Tell us what was learned from the past, then we will discuss the future.
There was pain in the past.
Pain is a teacher. What was the lesson?
Stamina.
Final answer.
Wait. It isn't stamina.
Oh, wait.
Hope. It's hope.
And what is hope?
Imagination despite intimidation.
How you've grown.
Grown?
I remember when you told us the answer was money.
I've been here before.
We've been here during all life. Try not to think about it too much, love, and we'll do fine on our return.
How can I return if I don't know where I came from?
Destinations are meaningless outside the flow of time. There's no time if there is no place. Relativity. But we will show you who you were and also who you have yet to be.
What was, what is, and what's going to be, or if you prefer, the truth, the truth, the truth. So help us.
It says my name is Martha.
We've all had many names throughout life.
Martha Rose.
And by any other name, you would smell as sweet.
I was white.
Makes no difference in the myriad of men.
I lived in Tennessee.
All your life.
I had daughters.
All three. Beautiful.
I loved a man.
And you showed your true face.
I had a vast estate.
Which we've established is negligible.
I was in charge
You placed yourself there with all its pros and cons.
of many people.
Who you then considered to be different.
It says I knew them to be lesser.
You convinced yourself so.
It says I owned them.
It does say that.
Is it true?
All things are true.
That's not an answer. Did I subject others to pain?
When you felt it was necessary.
Why would I think that?
It was the thing you came to believe.
How could one make that their truth?
happens in all instances, no matter the truth. There will always be a contradiction. This is the path to true knowing. Knowing, really knowing. That encompasses all the truths at once. Only once we've reached the end will we'll be able to know.
The end?
Take no worry about that. It's still a long ways off and you have a long way to go.
Where am I going?
Backwards. Slowly. We'll know when we get there, but I can say this is the next step.
It says I'm a man.
You are always both.
It says my name is James.
That it is.
It says I'm black.
Yes.
It says I'm strong.
In many ways.
It says I will suffer.
Suffering is inevitable. It's one of the teachers.
It says I will love.
One man in his life loves many things.
It says I will die.
Mortality is inescapable.
It says I know Martha Rose.
Intimately.
But this will not be the end?
The wheel turns. There is no end.
But you mentioned an end. An end to all this suffering, all this learning. You mentioned that the school of Earth will end, and then I will join with you, and we together will stay here. Stay and listen and discuss great things.
We will. We will all be equal at last. We will shape and change, and we will be what we are. Perhaps it's already happened. Perhaps it will never happen. We will know when the wheel stops, for we will be still. Until then, we're in a new dimension of hope. There are many lessons yet. The next lies through that door.
When will I see you again?
You have always seen us. You'll see us now. You'll see us always.
How?
Close your eye.
I don't believe you.
You'll believe what you choose. You will believe it all. And when you have,
We will be still? My God, who are you?
still wait. Now, cross the threshold and tell us something true.
I'm not ready.
We rarely are when the world calls us, but it doesn't mean that we should shrink from the task.
I'm frightened.
Fear is an illusion, and a teacher in its own right, but one that should ultimately be forsaken.
And you promise we'll meet again?
Cross our heart. It'll be sooner than you think.
Thank you. Goodbye. And I love you.
I love you too.
Where are we?
Yes! We are nowhere.
Nowhere.
You told us we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among these, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Lights up. A woman walks out on stage. It looks like she's just walked in off the street. Purse in hand, jacket still on. She drags a chair with her, sits on it backwards, cowboy style.
Today, I am out of words. Yep. I know I'm supposed to give you a play or something, but, nope. I don't have any. And usually I can, like, pull something out of my ass. I can take a moment on my day and spin it into something that resembles something, but not today. Today, I am spent. Today I am particularly mad at white women. Yes, that means you. And no, I don't mean the 54% of them that voted for Trump. I am angry at liberal white women. The ones who know something about something, who probably have cousins that are members of the DAR that voted for the fascist Cheeto, but who cannot be bothered to unseat themselves from the comfort of their lawyer or dentist or doctor's husband's suburban McMansion to even begin comprehending what it means to show up for women of color. You know what? Today I would rather be writing about other things I like fashion and style, particularly ones involving corsets and petticoats and pretty hair and expensive set decoration. You know, the stories that Little Lou's obsessed over, but told herself she had no business becoming an actor because she'd never get cast in them, because colorblind casting wasn't a thing in the 90s, and Ali Ewalt and Philippa Sue weren't a thing in the 90s, so she should set her sights on other things. I don't have the privilege to write that play. Not today. Not this year. Not this decade. I don't get to write navel-gazing bullshit about upper white class female complaints, about corsets and white-collar male oppression. I don't get to write fluffy parlor game comedies about how Marie Antoinette was secretly feminist, or, God forbid, a Pride and Prejudice sequel. Or musical. You know, the white women trust fund donor attracting play, the kind of thing you program between Bad Jews and the token black person play. That kind of play. I'll never get to it. Why? Because I am mixed. And writing that kind of play right now, in this moment, where democracy is hanging by a thread, our president hasn't conceded this election, which, by the way, is a landslide by his own fucking metrics, is an insult, is tone deaf, is completely unnecessary, and would be a complete and utter validation of my uselessness as a part white woman. Do you think I want to live with that kind of guilt right now? Today I am angry at white women, so I am going to do a striptease.
She takes out a makeup case from her purse. She begins to put on makeup.
White women love those. You see them all the time at Clifton's. White women that still think it's acceptable to prop up tiki bars and drink hurricanes out of ceramic cups made to look like the sacred gods of my Polynesian cousins. You know, the ones that curl their hair into victory rolls, the type that thinks that the pinnacle of feminist subversion is reclaiming 50s dresses and bullet bras and spending $500 on front row seats to Dita Von Teese. I've applied a couple shades lighter than usual because for this striptease, I need to pass. You'll understand. My corset play, I think, would be pretty cool. Because I have this axe to grind. I don't think corsets were that oppressive. In fact, I think that corsets were better for the body than all of this Fitspiration shit on Instagram. Prime white lady donor shit, right? I mean, God, maybe I should just get off stage and write that play. I'd be rich.
She walks off stage and comes back with the costume rack.
My Pilates teacher voted for the Cheeto. But she still, like, follows Gavin Newsom just so she can shit all over the comments section. Pretty sure she's Mormon, but, like, doesn't wear the Mormon underwear, obviously, because, like, you can't fit that shit under your mother-daughter Lululemons.
She goes and changes behind the rack.
Anyway, I'm gonna do a striptease for you because, one, I am an attention hoe, and I intend to make a living off of my self-concept of sensational honesty. And two, because I read somewhere that burlesque is parody. And I really, really like that. Anywho, I hope that this isn't too much of a disappointment. Like, I know I was supposed to give you something profound or some such, but you know what? Sometimes anger really is profound. And if Jermaine Greer can make a whole fucking career out of shouting about white men, then why shouldn't I make a career about, you know, shouting about white women? God damn it, why are these things so tedious?
She fusses behind the rack.
I'm ready. Almost ready. Okay.
She emerges from the rack in persona.
Ladies and everyone, please refill your drinks. The show is about to begin.
She whisks the rack off stage. She moves her chair off to the side, grabs a powder puff from her makeup bag. She is wearing a gigantic white dressing gown.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending my much anticipated 3 times sold out Lady Columbia Cabaret Revival Show. I would truly like to thank every one of you for being here. It is an honor to resurrect a character that is so near and dear to me. But before we get started, I need to finish my makeup, and while I do that, let's take a look at the glory days.
A black and white projector flickers. A dancer flutters about in white robes, long hair billowing around her. We begin to register that this is manifest destiny.
Those were the days. I mean, just look at my calves. Just glory. Well, anyway, you came here for a show, and a show I am here to give. So on with it.
She takes off her robe to reveal her full costume, a chainmail bodice and long drapery skirts made up of American flags. She begins a burlesque.
Let me tell you a story about my ex-boyfriend. He was sort of, oh, you know, a prick. On my case all the time about money, taxes, blah, 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 blah. You know, he was older, entitled, obsessed with tradition, and a bit mad, I suppose. He had the poshest, most obnoxious accent, my God, and it got really bad. And you know, one day I said, enough, and I spit out my tea, wink, wink, and I left.
The chainmail comes off.
Oh, how liberating it is to have good old George off my back. It's a good thing I have a whole house full of slaves to do my bidding. I mean, can you imagine what this skirt would have been had I done it myself?
She sashays about, feels herself.
Oh my God, it truly is wonderful to be free. Free, 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 free! But of course, we're not totally free. No. Women aren't free. I think it's time that we...
She strips off the flag garment. We see a white corset, bustle, petticoat, and big old suffragette ribbons. For the first time, we see she has blue stockings.
change that a bit. My mother said it was important for a woman to read, to know her Plato, Cicero, Aristotle, Homer. So I did. And I knit, crocheted, embroidered, sewed tiny little pillows for birthday parties and baby showers, and you know what? I found it all boring. I'm not a Chinaman. I'm not going to work in the garment factories. Why on earth do I need to know how to sew? So I took to the streets. Women deserve to have the right to vote, you know?
She plays with her suffragette ribbon, tosses it off in victory. She begins to hike up her skirts.
And then the 20s hit, and I told my mother, I have a job. I am a secretary for the Standard Oil Company. John D. Rockefeller complimented my typing skills himself, so I could spend my money on as many clothes, bottles of booze, and cigarettes as I please. Oh, my mother was so angry, but I didn't care. So I hiked up my dress, I rouged my lips,
Rips off corset.
and I marched myself down to the club where the Negro Jazz Band plays every night until 3, and I had myself a ball! Oh, Mother was so angry. If you associate with those colored folks and houses of debauchery again, I will surely excommunicate you from this house. And I told my mother, well, it's not like I'm living on their side of town, eating their food and drinking from their fountains. I mean, my God, I have standards. And she kept on yelling hysterical accusations at me like I was the bride of Satan. And I just had enough of this. Go right ahead.
She strips off her slip to reveal a crocheted bra and tiny matching shorts. She pulls a joint out from her boob.
So I left home. I told my folks I was going to go find myself, and dude, we had an amazing time. And you know, like, blah, 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 groupies, free love communes, Woodstock, and you know, fuck the Vietnam War and burn the bras, go Gloria Steinem, let's go to India and drop LSD and find ourselves. Or maybe let's get in a van and pretend to be poor. So poor, and mat our hair into dreadlocks and refuse to shower even though one of us has a slush fund trust fund that got us to India in the first place. No, let's just beg, borrow, and sing bad covers of Stevie Nicks at the farmer's market and tell people we're fucking the system even though the system is the thing that enabled us to walk away from our day jobs and deal acid without getting arrested and, you know, pretend to be actually doing anything even though we're just bumming off the system and calling that protest, despite decades of, you know, actual protest by hundreds of thousands of people who actually have something to gain. Oh, and I'm not even naked yet. Did I ruin the ending?
She takes off the bra unceremoniously. Her pasties are black and white vote stickers.
I mean, it's like this. We white women vote for ourselves. Every single time. Ourselves and no one else. We put up our signs. We pretend that we care that our neighbors are black, our children are trans, our in-laws are undocumented, all that social media bullshit. But at the end of the day,
She yanks off the shorts to reveal Wonder Woman underwear.
we think we're the heroes of this whole damn American story. And we're just not, okay? Can we stop pretending that we're in charge of these things? That donating to Planned Parenthood is the pinnacle of feminism? Because it's not. I don't have an elaborate way to say this. I don't have a grand metaphor that I'm building to other than our words of solidarity, matter as much as this vote sticker. Because as soon as we peel it off,
She peels one off.
our word is as good as a ghost's. And yeah, I do say we, because I may have those nice coveted olive skin tones, but like my white last name and all my white European features may suggest, and without launching into a brown skin white mind's lecture about the legacy of colonization, I have the same privilege as you. The ability to take it or leave it. Tune it out. Sit back. We white women, we sure know how to make it about ourselves. I'm just done with the negotiating and the panels and the promises, because, like, the seat you're filling, ma'am, is still warm. So, I'm sorry I had no play for you today. No, I'm not sorry. I think you'll deserve that little tirade. So go home. Leave your seats. And think about what losing a grip on power actually feels like.
End of play.
Hello, can everybody hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, great, I'll get started then. Thank you for joining me, everyone. I understand these are very unusual circumstances, so I really appreciate each of you tuning in for class today. As you know, we're still not allowed to meet in person for obvious reasons, but the university has told the staff, that's me, to exhaust every possible option to ensure that all of our students still graduate on time, even if that means teaching neurosurgery over the computer. So, did everybody get a chance to do the reading? I see a hand up. Great. Oh, no, you have a question? Go ahead and type it in. What chapter were we supposed to read? Hang on a moment, class. I'm going to hit the mute button. Anne.
What?
Do you mind?
What?
I'm trying to work. You just walked off with half my parietal lobe.
Okay, just relax. Man, you've been stressing me out lately.
Oh, have I? Well, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to graduate these future brain surgeons, but I'm stressing you out. I'll work on that. Really, I will. Hi. Sorry about that. So unfortunately, with the med school building still closed, I wasn't able to access my usual equipment, but that's okay. We'll just have to use our imaginations. For surgical gloves, I've got dishwashing gloves. Not bad, right? Got my scalpel, AKA paring knife. And in place of alcohol, I've got, ta-da, alcohol. Nice bottle of white wine to sterilize the incision and keep my hand steady. Just kidding, don't drink and slice. Most importantly, we have our surgical specimen. I've got a fresh head of cauliflower because, well, that's what I had in the fridge. If you don't have cauliflower, you may want to follow along with a head of cabbage or cantaloupe. Cantaloupe works pretty good, I suppose. But for now, this is your brain. This is your brain on my kitchen floor. Hold on one second while I rinse that off. What the hell are you two still doing on screens? You're supposed to be in online classes. What? No, I said get off the iPad. Off the iPad, off the iPad. And get back to orchestra class now. Hi, sorry about that, kids, which reminds me. Yes, let's continue. So we're going to try to remove a small cyst from our brain. What you doing?
Hey, just saying hi.
You mind watching the kids while I teach?
They're fine. They're fine.
My husband Dan, everyone.
Hey.
Okay, so this will be an intracranial cyst. I'll put it in the middle fossa near the temporal lobe, and after we sterilize our equipment, we'll remove it. Easy enough?
What are you making for dinner? Are we having that cauliflower?
I wasn't going to throw it out, Dan.
Well, the kids won't eat it.
Yes, they will.
No, they won't.
Yes, they will.
Nah, not if you put peas in it.
Hang on a moment, class. I'm going to hit the mute button again. Dan, what the hell are you doing?
What?
Did you get through the kids' school assignments?
Assignments?
Their schoolwork. They need an adult to help them take their tests today. You know that, right?
No.
Dan, make yourself useful, please.
What?
Hi.
Kids, your mom's in one of her moods, so you better get your schoolwork done.
One sec. Here we go. So we're gonna make our incision. Okay, yeah. Like I said, we're gonna make our incision.
Kids, your mom's cooking cauliflower for dinner. I know. If you don't want to eat it, don't worry. I'll just microwave a little pizza or something. Okay.
You know what? The hell with it. This section here, this is the prefrontal cortex. It's the impulse control center of the brain, controls executive functioning. But since I don't know anybody who uses it, we're just gonna chop it off. Social skills, reasoning, emotional regulation, all sliced up into nice little florets. Next, hippocampus, memory, as in you're going to be neurosurgeons, remember? Don't forget to do the damn reading. Last, the lateral frontal pole, decision making. Who the hell decided it was a good idea to finish up our 4th year neurosurgery students with online classes? That's it for today, class. The operation was a success, but feel free to stick around while I show the cardiology students how to perform a quadruple bypass on a rotten pomegranate. Class dismissed.
Lights up. It's a bright, sunny day outside a typical American high school. Two different masked men approach the school carrying an AR-15 automatic rifle. They see one another walking towards the entrance, stop, look at each other, and take off their masks.
Are you?
No way. You too?
You're here to shoot up the school.
I totally am.
What are the odds?
Is that an AR-15?
It is, with a high capacity cartridge and a bump stock.
Nice. Where'd you get yours?
Yeah, I paid someone to buy it for me at a gun show. You?
My dad. Huge Second Amendment supporter. He believes in the right to bear arms, but he's a little lazy about locking the gun cabinet.
Your dad has a gun cabinet.
And a crippling addiction to prescription painkillers.
Is that why you're,
No. Well, not entirely anyway. I mean, I suppose not feeling heard by my parents is at the foundation of the anxiety disorder that's driven me down this path. Typical feelings of isolation that are now manifesting themselves in a single violent outburst. What about you?
religious upbringing made to feel guilty about everything. You know those throbbing hormonal urges that happen to everybody?
Sure.
I was raised to believe that everything I'm feeling is an affront to God, that masturbating is a sin. So all those pent-up feelings have turned into a toxic stew of inadequacy, making me want to punish everyone comfortable with their bodies and sexuality.
That makes sense.
I put it all in my manifesto. Did you not see it?
No.
I put it online last night.
You wrote a manifesto?
Sure. Didn't you?
No. I was so focused on all the steps in my plan that I couldn't think of how to put it all my thoughts into words. So I'm live streaming the whole thing.
He points to a cell phone duct taped to his tactical vest.
No kidding.
Printed word is a dying medium. I thought a real-time live stream would be a better way to capture the experience. Where'd you put your manifesto?
It's not really a manifesto. It's more of a vision statement. I spent some time criticizing our materialistic and fame-obsessed society and talk at length about this cruel world, and the only truth being the uncaring randomness of chaos. So, how should we do this?
We could go in together.
No. Then they'll think we planned it together. I was trying to make a statement about the crushing loneliness of existing in a society that alienates and destroys what it doesn't understand. Harder to make that point when you bring a partner along.
I get that.
It's nothing against you personally. I just had a real clear vision on how all this was going to go, and I never really pictured it being anyone other than me.
Right.
Now, given the circumstances, I should probably be more flexible. Everything isn't always going to go your way, and you need to adapt. Compromise is such an important component in finding an achievable balance. But there's some things important enough to fight for your original vision, you know?
Totally. Well, if this isn't lining up with your expectations, I'll go in and do my thing.
Wait.
What's that?
You're still gonna go through with it?
Sure.
Do you understand what kind of situation you're leaving me with? If you do this, you're going to ruin my entire vision.
I don't follow.
I had a very specific plan, and if you go in there and do what you're planning to do, everything will be ruined.
Right. That's kind of the idea.
I can't hear and shoot up the place if you've already done it. At best, it'll make me look like you inspired me to do it. They'll say I'm a poser, a copycat, a malicious derivative monster capitalizing on the misery of a community already in grief. Can you imagine being the guy who shot up a school after someone else had already shot up the school? I'd be society's greatest monster.
Maybe.
This was supposed to be something meaningful.
We can still do this together. That plan addresses your biggest concerns.
How do I even know our ideologies align?
Who did you want to shoot up first?
I didn't want to shoot anybody first.
You don't have a list?
No! My grudge isn't specific. It was supposed to be random. It was about chaos and the fickle hand of fate choosing those caught in the crossfire. It really would help if you've read my manifest, my vision statement.
Fine. Where did you post it?
It's on Facebook.
Facebook? Do you only want your grandparents to see it?
What?
If you wanted anyone at our school to read it, you should have posted it on Instagram, Snapchat, or Twitch. Again, this is why I'm live streaming.
My parents wouldn't let me use those apps. They said they were the gateway to sinful behavior.
I'm sure they'll appreciate the irony.
Damn it! Maybe we should get out of here and talk about this. Maybe put together a plan of action.
Okay.
They both turn and head back towards the parking lot. Stuart notices Melissa sitting in a running car, tears streaming down her face.
What is going on over there?
Melissa sits with a 9mm gun in her hand. There's a knock on the window. She looks up and sees Jonathan and Stuart heavily armed and standing outside her car. She makes eye contact with them. Jonathan makes a motion for her to roll down the window. She rolls it down just enough to hear them speak.
Are you okay?
Do I look okay?
No, but I think that was implied with the question.
What are you doing out here?
Not that it's any of your business, but I'm dealing with some pretty deep shit right now.
What's the gun for?
That's not really any of your business.
Look, I'm just gonna put it out there. Are you here to shoot up the school?
No.
Then why do you have the gun?
Why do you have the gun?
We were going to shoot up the school.
Jesus.
So that's not why you're here?
No. I was going to kill myself.
Ah, that explains why you only brought the one gun.
Why?
Why what?
Why do you want to kill yourself?
That's an extremely personal question.
Can I be honest?
Sure.
If this was your house and you were planning on doing this in the privacy of your own basement, it'd be one thing. But this is a parking lot. You kind of brought your trauma into our eye line.
Your plan was to shoot yourself in your car.
My plan was to kill myself in front of Mr. Abernathy's 4th period English literature class.
Why?
To make a point. To let them know that they did this to me.
Who?
The entire class.
What did they do?
I shared something with them. Something personal, deeply personal. And they mocked me.
But they laughed at you?
No, they criticized me. They said it rang false and it felt undercooked, if you can believe it.
Well, not having read the piece, I really can't say one way or the
She slips a crumpled piece of paper through the barely open window. He reaches out, grabs it, and starts to read it.
You know, I think I see what you're trying to do with it.
No, forget it. I don't want to hear it.
You know, constructive criticism and revisions are an important part of the creative process.
Why would you want to kill yourself in front of them? I mean, I get what you're going for, but it does feel a little conceptually vague. Did you say anything when they told you they didn't like it?
No.
Did this really happen to you?
Were you guys really gonna shoot up the school?
There's no we. I was going to shoot up the school, and he just happened to also be here to also shoot up the school. It isn't a coordinated effort. We're not a team.
It's complicated.
Clearly. If you're gonna shoot up the school, why are you heading in the opposite direction?
There's some issues we have to work out first.
Well, don't let me stop you.
Hold on.
What?
Are you gonna do it?
Excuse me?
Are you still planning on going in there and, you know?
Killing myself?
Yes,
I don't know. Why do you care?
it just kind of further complicates things.
How?
It's important to me that I don't come across like an opportunist. A tragedy like someone killing themselves in school would make anything happen after seem pointlessly cruel.
I think you could argue that most people would see shooting up a school as pointlessly cruel, no matter when you do it.
Maybe you could not kill yourself, or at least not kill yourself at school.
Oh, that's great. Real sympathetic, asshole.
I'm sorry that came off wrong.
You're a little too wrapped up in the intangibles. There's only so many things you can control, you know?
I have a vision, and I know that you are simply the product of a society that has become all too comfortable with the mediocrity.
Look, I'm trying to sort through some things here, so if you guys don't mind.
There's no you guys. We're not a team.
Fine. Would you two complete individuals with no connecting themes get the fuck away from me?
Look, maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Maybe we could go somewhere and have a civilized discussion about this.
A playground. Melissa sits in a swing, slowly dangling her feet. Stuart and Jonathan stand nearby.
You guys were really gonna shoot up the school.
Separately. Yes.
And you were going to kill yourself in front of your class. What are the odds?
Why?
I'm lonely.
You're lonely. Do you think shooting up the school was gonna make you less lonely?
No, but it would make me more dead.
So you were going for suicide by cops. It's where you do something stupid so the cops kill you because you're too much of a coward to kill yourself. So you're perfectly comfortable killing other people but not yourself? You selfish cunt.
No. I mean, I don't want to live anymore. But why should I be the only one who suffers?
Clearly you're not the only one suffering, genius. Everybody's fucking suffering, you asshole. It's high school.
Exactly what I was saying. Completely selfish, absolutely no thought given to your why.
You were gonna do the same thing.
No, I was not going to do the same thing. He was going to go in there and take out his loneliness on people. I'm going to make a point about the cruel, random nature of our society and the meaninglessness of our materialistic ways.
By shooting people.
By orchestrating a random act of violence.
If you want to make a point about the cruel, uncaring society and our materialistic ways, why would you shoot up a school? Your entire thesis is flawed.
Are you giving me notes? The irony. The girl killing herself because she can't take criticism is giving me notes on my manifesto?
I thought you said it wasn't a manifesto.
It's not a manifesto. It's a vision statement.
You have a manifesto?
He posted it on Facebook.
So you only wanted your parents' friends and alt-right apologists to read it?
I said the same thing.
Okay, fine. Perhaps I didn't think everything out as clearly as I wanted. Maybe this is a good thing. I would have hated for my work to be misrepresented by the public.
You really would have killed yourself over some people not liking your writing.
You really would have killed innocent people and let the cops kill you because you're lonely? I'm lonely.
I'm lonely. That by choice. I'm not a fan of people. Human interaction is vastly overrated.
What do we have to live for anyway? The world is fucked.
Exactly my point.
So you think shooting up a school is going to contribute to a less fucked up world?
Neither will killing yourself in front of your English lit class.
I'm not trying to make a point about the state of the world, asshole.
Well, you kind of are. I mean, whether you want to or not, committing suicide in front of everybody, making it spectacle, it's a statement. Whether you want it to be or not.
At least I'm only hurting myself.
Tell that to the class full of kids you just gave a lifetime of PTSD to.
Fuck.
It's funny.
What's funny?
All of us thinking about using violence to solve our respective problems.
No. Unlike you two, I was under no delusion that violence was going to solve anything. It was meant to identify a societal ill, not solve it.
So you wanted to show everyone the cruelty of society by performing an act of unspeakable cruelty.
I'm not looking for notes. Thanks. I'll concede. It's a little on the nose.
Maybe violence isn't the answer.
Then what is?
We're self-destructive. People, it's in our nature.
Based on what?
The sum of everything I've ever seen, heard, read, or witnessed. Every TV show, movie, album, book, graphic novel, and news broadcast. We are creatures of fear, desperately seeking purpose and trying to maintain our sanity in spite of the painful realization that no matter what we do, we're going to die. We spend our fleeting time seeking out wealth, power, and validation of worth, i.e. love, selfishly exploiting the world around us and becoming comfortable with the suffering of others and being willfully ignorant of the atrocities being committed every day under the guise of patriotism, religion, nationalism, and we either actively contribute to the suffering of this world or sit back and watch while others suffer because it isn't happening to us. And we're too lazy or distracted to do anything about it.
Deep.
Thank you. Part of my vision statement, if you're interested.
I'm not.
Right.
So fuck no matter what?
From the moment we're born, our only certainty is death. And we live in a society where our very existence contributes to the suffering of others. And people like us, we're even worse. Look at what we're going to do.
We're Chekhov's gun. He was an author. He said that if you're telling a story and you have a gun in the first act, it has to be used in the second. We're the gun. We're introduced into our own story, and eventually we go off.
She looks at the gun still clutched in her hand.
Or maybe we don't. Maybe the way out is not doing what's expected. Maybe we don't have to be tragedies. Maybe the gun doesn't always have to go off.
She gets up from the swing, walks over to a garbage can, and throws the gun away. Jonathan thinks for a moment. He nods in agreement, walks over to the garbage can, takes the lid off, and lays his inside.
Great. I'm glad you two have worked this out. I appreciate you clearing the lanes for me. But I had a vision statement. the uncaring society, chaos, and the purity of random circumstance.
Realizing the emptiness of his words, he walks over to the garbage can and begins to unload all his weapons, as well as his tactical vest and finally his mask.
So what do we do now?
It's a good question. None of them really know what's going to happen next, as each of them consider what life looks like when death is no longer on the table. Lights out.
Life is a constant struggle of not knowing what to do.
I dreamed last night. It was raining. It was really coming down hard. I was just there in the rain, just me. But it wasn't raining outside. It was inside. It was just me and the rain in a small, squarish room. And as I sat there in the rain, I couldn't see. Well, okay, I could see, but my eyes were shut. The room was too bright for me to open them. It was bright like the sun, but cold like space. And because my eyes were shut, all I could make out was a black, white, and pink haze. And as I sat there, hunched over myself, I could make out a ringing. It was faint at first. It was so quiet, I didn't even know if it was there. But as the minutes passed, it got louder, and it was all I could focus on. It was overwhelming. It was everything. It became so strong that I forgot about the light, the rain, my thoughts even. It had me tuning to its frequency. And I was gone. No longer trapped in the room with the rain. I was sound. Going through nothingness toward I don't know what. I didn't care. Sound doesn't care where it goes or who hears it. It just is. And I woke up. Should I be one with sound?
We aren't what we want. Inherent or aesthetic, we change what we can.
All right, that last one was Richard with Phallus Fallacy. Next up to the stage, we have a newcomer, Depressed. Let's give it up for Depressed.
Emotionally stunted. Recently, you had a show come and go, the fruition of many months of work. I know at times the process made you low, but I hope you see you grew as a perk. We talked on the phone and through Snap and text. I listened to you vent about it all. You wanted to move on to what is next, and yet, when it came, you gave me a call. If you're free, it's this weekend. Will you watch? You asked, eagerly waiting what I'd say. And wait you would, responseless, like a chotch. Please forgive me. I'm sorry, okay? Okay, it is. For this was all a waste. I told you this was stupid in your face.
Life is a constant struggle between wanting to feel good and wanting others to feel good.
How do you capture euphoria? How do you capture contentment? How do you capture that bubbling that starts in your stomach and chest and expands through your limbs? Exploding out your fingertips and toes until you are one with the universe, and the universe is one with you. Expanding until you are the moment. Living ever present, only because you are connected with the racing past, always behind, always new. Is there a net or jar large enough to contain a bug as explosive as a bolt of lightning and as elusive as a speck in the grass? Can a flame so bright and contagious, yet so easily snuffed, be omnipresent? Humanity's Olympic torch of connection and self-worth, eternally glorified in a spire that warms all from Boston to Belize. And what if the cold is warmed to extinction? No longer is the heat on the back of your neck a gift. The shiver of pleasure rippling through your body is a fable, a thing of fiction, a thing of myth. Enjoy for now. Enjoy is now. Enjoy again. To know it, impossible, impossible. To feel it, feel it. Undeniable.
Summer set on us, and all our shenanigans. Fret not. We'll have more, my friend.
Duplicity dances on the tongue. Tumbling, turning, trotting, ducking, diving, diverting. Nimble as a Russian ballerina. Powerful as an Irishman bid clog. Clothed in clammy hands. They're strong and firm. Lifting the sick, brandishing a knife on the feeble. prying through teeth, like a snake with crossed fingers. As common as a mallard, the Nigerian prince, a pomade slicked lawyer, a big wig CEO, a creative accountant, a vegetable hiding parent. Bringing out the best by acting on the worst. Survival.
Life is a constant struggle of being berated by the world and trying to convince yourself it's not that bad.
They don't make sense together. All except that they exist in tandem. Why is it so random?
Death is no stranger here. Death is like a good friend that we invite off the streets and into our hearts. It transforms us. So often, I stand before you and we rejoice in the death of our Father, revel in his glories, not out of hedonistic pleasures from below, but because from it we know that we are safe. We can fall, and we know that our Father is right there beside us to pull us back out, just as he did his own Son.
Even when unobserved or thought about, we go on existing. What a tragedy!
Salty brine. Wind whipped and unforgiving. Spares none in its breaking crest.
Today, let's join hands and celebrate.
Today, let's remember those that have and continue to be oppressed.
Today, let's recognize how far we've come and how far we still have to go.
And tomorrow.
And forever after.
Let's continue the fight.
Together. Now, if you listen closely, I'll tell you what I know. Storm clouds are gathering, the wind is gonna blow. The race of man is suffering, and I can hear the moan. 'Cause nobody, but nobody, can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone. Nobody, but nobody, can make it out here alone.
Life is a constant struggle between wanting entertainment and wanting to entertain.
All right.
Okay, I'm ready.
This is it.
Sorry, this is the one.
Okay. A 5, 6.
I ran away so I didn't have to watch you go. Cutting us short, see me only way to stay afloat. In the life of an action, this was simply something I tried. Close the door myself, turn and run away and hide. It may seem dumb, but that's nothing new. When I'm running from me, I'm running from you. Long nights alone, pebbles bouncing off my brain. I check my phone for something to ease my pain. Messages unsent, things holding words unheard. A jellyfish existence living with no spinal nerve. Scared of codependency. When I'm running from you, I'm running from me. You. Why do I do this to myself? Ignoring what I feel deep inside. How long can I spiral down before I go splat? All because my stupid pride. Falling fast asleep tonight. Don't wake me up in the morning. I let you go. Time for you to do the same. Probably already have, but it felt like something I should say. Goodbye, 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 good. You brought out the best in me. Goodbye to us, I'm setting you free.
Bench on display. Not to sit, but to behold. Queer utility.
Nestled far below the earth, where the atmosphere is sulfur and the season perpetual summer, lives a rose. This rose sits perched on an isle of ash, looking out onto a sea of bitter ruby lava. For as long as it can remember, this is all there is. A long time ago, like everything, this rose was but a cell, and it knew nothing of the venomous heat of the far below. It knew nothing at all. It was white, a blank canvas. But when the rose that was but a cell ceased to be so, and expanded into a seed, it was quickly plucked from its native land and plunged deep into the ground, far below the atmosphere, crust, and mantle, taking up residence among the heat. The roots it planted here were shallow, but far-spreading, the ashen compost of the island providing just enough nourishment for the rose to sprout, but never bloom. After some time, in the extreme conditions of the land of red, the rose began changing. Its leaves became red and its bud black. While survival certainly played a role in its adaptation, as with most things, comfort was the driving force. The land of heat loved Rose's changes, showering them with praises and compliments in regard to their new beauty. "We're so proud of you and what you've become," sang the violet sea. Life, with arms of red and a center of black, allowed Rose to pass through life less bothered. Rose lived this way a long time. Eventually, they even convinced themselves that they belonged, convinced themselves that as they withered and died, this was as good as it got. But I wasn't. Not even close.
One day, on the surface, no different than the last, Rose noticed something they had never noticed before. A hole. Up above, amidst the craggy sky, there was a hole. And from this hole cascaded streams of foreign light, translucent beams of oxygen. This light was far different than that of their scarlet friend. This light was cool. It didn't heat your outsides with blistering intensity. It warmed your insides. Something awoke in Rose from this kiss of life, causing them to shed their coat of red and black, letting every inch of their body feel this newfound glow, causing Rose to grow. Wanting more of this light, sweet nectar, needing more, Rose pulled their roots beneath them and pushed against the sediment that had once enshrined them, shooting them upward. Like the masthead of a ship, their bud cut through the air as they climbed higher and higher. Rose quickly reached the hole. As they entered the mantle, they found there was much more to the physical beyond soot, ash, and red. They discovered rock. But they didn't stop there. They had to know what else existed beyond their cave. Up to this point, the lake of lava had simply watched as the Rose had strangely tore away from its island and lifted into the sky. But as the Rose entered the mantle, the lake became enraged. The red liquid began to bubble as their hurt intensified, soon turning into a rolling boil, their hot juices splashing everywhere as they grew furiousome. Eventually, the lava exploded, and a long, thin red hand stretched upward out of the lake and after the Rose. The hand made short work at catching up to the Rose, which at this point had entered the crust and neared the surface. As Rose had risen, the pure light had intensified, and so too had their need to be in the land from whence they came, but never knew. Rose could now see the end of the tunnel. The light was overpowering and the oxygen intoxicating. They were so close to freedom, yet could feel the spiteful heat right behind them, ready to throw them back into a life of suppression. Higher and higher they both climbed until Rose reached the precipice. With one last attempt, the lava flailed its gangly arm upward and shut their wispy claws around the bud, catching Rose by the neck. With the Rose in hand, the lava fell downward, descending into the blackness below and turning their palm from the land of light. But as it fell downward, the heat of their hatred and love that seethed through their fingers freed the bud of its stem, leaves, and roots. So as they fell, Rose rose up and out. Out into a world where it could plant new roots, deep roots that would support them as they grew and bloomed. From then on, Rose was free to be nourished by the blissful light of truth. And as Rose grew and bloomed, their petals shined brightly as the sun, reflecting in them a beautiful rainbow.
Life is a constant struggle between vanity and vanity suppression.
Your skin doesn't fit. Reflection unsatisfies. Just another day. The monster that lives in my reflection. The reality I want to deny. Obscene dreams are these gross predilections. If I turn, so does it in reaction. I can't shake it no matter what I try. The monster that lives in my reflection. When I close my eyes and dream with passion, reality is something I defy. Obscene dreams are these gross predilections. Fearing inevitable collision, I hide them away from those that might pry. The monster that lives in my reflection. I want a brain not plagued by division, one that can find contentment in a lie. Obscene dreams are these gross predilections. It's too far gone for any correction. I'll be at odds till the day that I die. The monster that lives in my reflection. Obscene dreams are these gross predilections.
A new day is here. Quiet now, anxiety. At least till tomorrow.
Life is a constant struggle.